speaking of somebody's world, the world right now is bowing down and saying, we got love for you, MVP, and Joel Embiid. The dude finally did it, right? We know who Joel Embiid is. He just won that MVP over Jokic and over Giannis. We'll discuss, did he deserve that as well? But first, this is his first MVP award after finishing as a runner-up the last 2 years. Chomping at the bit. I'm coming, give it to me. And finally, he gets it. What's interesting about Joel Embiid is because he's been so public with who he is, so public with his persona. I remember you could go back to the early days when he was taking his shots at Rihanna, despite him being on IR, or when he predicted that he would win an MVP one day, long time ago when he was on Twitter, right? So this is a really good story in terms of a guy who just put it all out there and ends up climbing to the top of the mountain in terms of individual accomplishments. He won the award by a landslide. Remember everybody was talking about how close it was going to be? Jokic deserves his third in a row. And then obviously Giannis was balling out of control. And you're not supposed to look at what's happening in the playoffs. So what Giannis and the Bucks did in the playoffs wasn't supposed to matter. But looking at the voting, it looked like something mattered because Embiid had 915 points, 73 first-place votes. Jokic was second, 674 and 15 first-place votes. Giannis was third, 606 in points, 12 first-place votes. All right, so Embiid won because of this. He plays defense, and this is second straight year of leading the NBA in scoring. It's kind of hard to say no to that guy, especially when the other two guys, let's just be real about it, they already had won MVP before. So it's like, this guy is leading the league in scoring again and playing defense like that. And it's one of the hardest covers in basketball in terms of what he can do from the three-point line all the way down in terms of just boxing you out defensively, getting the ball, blocks, steals. He just does it all. He checks every box. Shot a career high from the field, 54.8%. And it's crazy that this is the fifth straight year, y'all. Y'all ready? Y'all ready, America? That an international player has won the award. 5 straight MVP awards have gone to international players. And it's the third straight center. Y'all want to keep talking about how this game is globalized? Yeah, you done exported the game, and then we done imported all that talent, and they are balling out of control. The third straight center to win the award. Interesting, because we know that is a position that is dated, they say. You can go right now to the youth league and see the little kids that are not so little, the big ones, and they trying to bring those dudes away from the basket, shoot the three-pointer, not traditional, back to the basket, centers, etc. But whatever you want to call the position and how it's morphed in terms of its dynamics, third straight center of that old, dusty, dated position. Now, MVP. Okay, let's talk about his story because this is interesting. Let's just go through the beats. He's from Cameroon, where they go, West Central Africa, and he didn't pick up a basketball till he was 17. All y'all screaming ass parents at these 7-year-olds, these 9-year-olds, these 11-year-olds. Joel Embiid did not pick up a basketball till he was 17. Now I can hear y'all push back to justify y'all screaming for little Johnny out there. Oh, well, he's 7'90", so obviously he didn't have to just pick up a basketball till he was 17. Look how big he is. That's part of it. Can't lie about that. But also, it just lets you know, if you commit to something, no matter when you start, oh, you can get some results. 17. That's when he picked up the sport. His family wanted him to focus on school. They had to be convinced that basketball was a good idea, and it could even help him get into school, give him that balancing act. So he attended a basketball camp that was ran by a former NBA player, Luc Mbah-a-Moute. Y'all remember him? I remember him. And the French player, Francois Niam. I don't know him. Okay, so they said from day one he had no skills. Big ass, no skills. Okay, you can expect that he's 17 learning a new game. So with his big no skill having butt, he went out there and he would try and learn. He said 3 things every single time. He would try to just learn 3 things. Mastering them, different, but try to learn those 3 things. The one thing he did have is some sick feet. They said, yo, the footwork was natural, was nice. All right? So now you got a guy who's trying to build himself as an athlete, which started with him just not picking up the sport till he was 17. Okay, so then they got him to one of the top high school programs in the country. Wasn't hard. You imagine that, admissions meeting? Okay, bring him in. What's his name? Joel Embiid. Okay. Oh, okay, yeah, he can. He's admitted. Whatever the hell he want to do on that court, he can do it. We'll help him in the classroom as well. So he barely spoke English, got on a plane to attend the school, and didn't know, seriously, when he see his family again. I guess our version of that is when you send your kid to IMG Academy in Florida, tennis players, sometimes a football player, but usually those tennis players go out there. Imagine getting on a plane that young, 17, and it's time for you to say hello to your dreams now and maybe goodbye for a while to your family. That's crazy. Okay, so then he got into Kansas, got drafted 3rd overall by the Sixers, 2014. Beasting, right? Picking up those 3 things a day with those 6 feet has added up to something already. Now, he considered retiring after his brother's death and missing his first 2 NBA seasons because of his broken foot when he was taking those shots at Rihanna. Like, yo, what it do? I know one day you're going to be a billionaire and I'm going to do my part to try and keep up. What's up? I was laughing at that the whole time, even though it was kind of weird. Dog, play first before you start playing on social media. But he took his backlash. Obviously, he didn't retire, even though he had that hurt and heavy heart because of his brother's death. And then he said he wanted to quit basketball after he had another surgery. He had the second surgery. He was like, dog. So a lot of thoughts about something he picked up late, and it was now being something that was very difficult for him to go out there and do. It was difficult because of his injury, so he's contemplating not even doing it at all. What a story of perseverance, and a guy who started it late but was able to chase his dream all the way to this level of success against incredibly long odds. I love it. Now, did he deserve it? Absolutely. We talked about his stats. We talked about his impact on the team. And this doesn't mean Jokic didn't deserve it. Doesn't mean that Giannis didn't deserve it, but you got to pick one. And who deserved it more? I would say Joel Embiid. On top of all those other things that we already consider, the fact that he never won it is a part of this, is of interest to those voters. So now, game 2, conversations of him coming back. James Harden balled out of control, 45-6 in game 1. James Harden knows, hey, that's still in my bag if you need it. If you're going to play, you don't even got to be 100%. Give me a lot of you, I'll do the rest. And the confidence of this team, believing now, they got that 2-headed scoring monster in terms of James Harden and Embiid. It's going to do wonders for their confidence. So it's going to be interesting to see how this series goes, because Boston does not want to go down 0-2, then have to travel to Philadelphia. To me, it sounds like that series will be a wrap, and that'll be the team probably representing the East, because the Knicks and the Heat without their 2 best players, and the Knicks still struggling to beat them and losing to them, I don't think it will be enough against the Sixers and the Celtics winner. Well, Celtics better win this next game, or else I'm going to stop saying the Celtics, and it's just going to be the Sixers. Congrats to you, Joel Embiid, man. I remember day 1 when you were talking all that stuff on Twitter. I was like, this dude doing too much. He too damn silly to be real. Well, he wore it with a smile, and he still climbed his mountain. Props to you, big dog.